I want to give you a recap. You've had around 900 Israelis that have been killed. Some are saying it's 1,000 already. And for once, and I was quite surprised, for once the majority of the casualties are Israelis. I'm not used to seeing this, right? Because every time the Israelis attack Gaza or they attack the West Bank, whether it's a raid or it's a war, you know, it's always the Palestinians who are suffering the most casualties. Okay, you know, you've had many of the wars in Gaza, like 2009 and 2014 and so on, where you've got like 1,600 Palestinians who are killed. The bulk of them, of course, civilians, and then you have 50 Israelis who are dead. 50, 60 maybe. I mean, you know, again, asymmetric is an understatement. So the Israelis are very much used to, you know, just bombing the crap out of people in Lebanon or in Syria or in Gaza and you know, suffering minimal casualties, if anything. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't suffer tactical defeats, because 2006, they did a lot of damage. They inflicted a lot of damage, you know, against the Lebanese, but they still suffered a tactical defeat. Now, in this case, the Israelis are suffering not only a massive intelligence failure and a tactical defeat, but also the bulk of the casualties. From what I'm seeing, the death toll among Palestinians is 300, 400. And just again, to show you what they're doing, the Israelis, because they want you to think that the Israelis are victims, right? This is Gaza this morning. So, you know, the Israelis do what they're the best at doing and what they do best, which is bombing civilians, you know, playing the tough guy. They come with their F-16s and they drop bombs on civilians who have no means of defending themselves, who have no conventional air force, no conventional armed forces, no conventional navy, who have no means of firing surface-to-air missiles, who have no anti-aircraft, nothing. You know, just drop bombs on a couple of hospitals and so on. This is Gaza again. So, you know, they're taking their time. I mean, honestly, this looks like an apocalypse. It really does. It looks like the apocalypse. Actually, I think it might be 600 Palestinians killed. So that's double than what I just told you. 300 to 600, right? Look at the scale of the bombing all day. They've been doing this all day, right? I mean, the Israelis, you know, they want you to believe that they are the most moral army in the world. That's what they call themselves, right? That's like actually a slogan that they use. The most moral army in the world. Yes. And they've got, as I said, F-16s. They receive $3.8 billion from the Americans every year, sometimes more. And they have access to more armaments, technology, weapons. So you would think that their targeting methods would be more sound, that they know who they're hitting. They can be more surgical, quote unquote, right? They want you to believe that they do surgical strikes, when that's absolutely not the case. They are at best, and again, this is giving them the benefit of the doubt. They are at best the most sloppy, careless army in the world. That's not the truth, though. They are doing this on purpose, right? In 2021, in May, when they were bombing Gaza, again, they purposely destroyed the main road that leads to the hospital, the main hospital in Gaza. Just destroyed the road so ambulances can't get there. I'm going to be here all night if I start going through this. It's really too extensive. You know, if Hamas are terrorists because they kill civilians, what does that make the Israelis who have an air force and do this? Answer me that. What does that make the Israelis? So Look, they're just going. You know, keep in mind this is the Gaza Strip. I mean, the Gaza Strip is because look, I'm going to show you the map. The Gaza Strip is a tiny piece of land on the Mediterranean Sea where the Israelis have surrounded Palestinians and boxed them in like a ghetto. It's a ghetto. Some people call it an open air prison. Some people call it a ghetto. I don't care. At the end of the day, the result is the same. So this is what's going on. Look at that. They have boxed the Palestinians in. And every checkpoint is controlled by the Israelis. Okay? You cannot go in or out without a pass. You cannot go out to fish or go out to the sea as you wish because there's a 6 nautical mile limit that's imposed by the Israeli Navy with their gunships. And of course, there's this famous, a few years ago, there's this famous incident, as they like to call it, where the Israelis just randomly killed like 3 Palestinian boys who were playing on the beach. You know, just there's no fighting, there's nothing, you just like shot them, just killed them, blew them to bits. So, you know, this is a ghetto. There are 2.1 million people living in this area, okay? It's a ghetto. That's what it is. The water, the food, the electricity, what goes in, down to cement. Like your home's been destroyed, you want to rebuild your home? Too bad. There's no cement. You're not allowed to have cement. That's what Israel does. And if you don't believe me, here is Israel's defense minister a few hours ago saying no more food, no more water, no more electricity for everybody in Gaza. 2.1 million people. Everybody. Not Hamas, everybody.
We are imposing a complete siege on Gaza. There will be no electricity, no food, no water, no fuel. Everything will be closed. We are fighting against human animals and we are acting accordingly.
Human animals. I mean, if I had given you the exact quote that he just said of what he just said, you would think this is a Nazi talking about Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto. Human animals. That's what he called everybody in the Gaza Strip. No food, no water, no electricity. Who the fuck does that? What are you running, a concentration camp? Yeah, looks like he is. You know, we should not mince words. We should not mince words. This guy thinks he's very tough. He would not last 2 minutes outside. He wouldn't last 2 minutes. He's a big tough guy. So see, the thing is that when Hamas went into when they started this operation 2 days ago, you know, they know that there's going to be collective punishment because every single time that anybody farts or coughs in Palestine, there's collective punishment. And I don't need to tell you that what this guy just said is against the Geneva Convention. No, I know that this is the Geneva Convention translates to toilet paper in Israel, but nevertheless, you should know that it's a war crime. You cannot collectively punish an entire country by cutting off food, water, and electricity. You cannot even punish prisoners of war, soldiers that you've captured, by cutting off their food, water, and electricity. It doesn't matter whether these are civilians or captured soldiers. You cannot do this. It's a war crime. And Israel is legally, by legal definition, not morally, legally, an occupying power in Palestine. Okay? So they are breaking the law. And so this is, of course, if you don't think that this is, if you think that there's nothing wrong with what he's doing morally, maybe you would care legally. I don't know. I doubt it. But in any case, I'm telling you that in every way, every lens that you use to look at this situation, it's bad, right? The Israelis, if they're really victims, why are they punishing 2.1 million people that they have already besieged? Remember that he's saying that we are going to impose a full siege. Yeah. He means by cutting off the water even more. You see, what the Israelis have done before is that they calculated how much food people in Gaza need to eat to survive, right? Like what is the bare amount of calories? Calories, like, when you go on a diet, you and when you eat stuff, you look at the nutritional value and you try to count up the calories. The Israelis did this for the purpose of looking at how much food they can give the Gazans, but as little as possible, just to make sure that they stay alive. And then they actually gave them less than that. And the only other example that I know of this in recent history is Nazi Germany. Okay, the food minister the Nazi food minister, was called Bake. That's his name. He did something called the hunger plan. You can take a guess. You can guess already what it was. When they took all these Soviet prisoners of war, which they considered to be subhuman in Nazi Germany, Bake calculated how many calories they would need in order to starve the Soviet prisoners down to something ridiculous, like 50 or 60 calories a day. I don't have the figure off the back of my head. I used to do presentations about this stuff. So the point is that they gave the Soviets as little as possible, and guess what? A lot of them died because of hunger. Millions. And they gave the food to the Nazi soldiers, right? So this is a perfect analogy to what is happening in Gaza. So now, instead of giving them too little calories to survive, they're giving them no calories to survive, right? So it's gone from out of the frying pan into the fire. Hamas know that this is going to happen. There's always something that the Israelis do to crap on everybody. So when you are in a situation like this, you have nothing to lose. You literally have nothing to lose. So why not just go all out? Why not go all out? Again, the Israelis want you to think, oh, they're victims. Oh, Hamas are terrorists. No, man, you're starving 2 million people. You've surpassed terrorists. You become genocidal at this point. Let's call him General Genocide. Right? That's his rank. No, but that's the Israeli defense minister I just showed you, right? Very defensive. So, I just want to show you as well. This is quite heartbreaking, okay? It's not the only video I've seen, but this is someone in Gaza. I think the video is self-explanatory. I don't think you need a translation. So I've seen too many videos already today of Palestinian parents or fathers, like holding their dead children. Too many. That story that they made up about Iraq when they said, Iraqis are coming into the hospitals in Kuwait and they're killing babies in incubators. The funny thing is that that's exactly what they're doing right now to the Palestinians. I literally saw incubators full of dead babies, and that I can assure you that is actually real this time, right? It's not like the lie that they spread about Iraq. This is real. It's Israel. No, this is really messed up. This is and every year the Palestinians deal with this. This is not something new. You can go to pick anyone you want. 2012, 2009, 2014. You're gonna go find the same videos. It's like parents holding their dead children. So if you are a Palestinian, this is what makes you want to join Hamas. And like he said, all the way to Tel Aviv. That's what he said. What do you have to lose? You live in a ghetto. You are told by the world that you're a terrorist, and then they kill your children, and you're supposed to just accept this and live with no food and electricity. And, dude, do you think they give a shit what they're saying on CNN? They could not care less. They couldn't care less. This means nothing to them. This propaganda and this bullshit speeches is irrelevant. Doesn't mean anything. It's like there's nothing to lose at this point. And keep in mind, I'm only talking to you about Gaza. Again, I will show you the map. This is just Gaza, right? We can also talk about Jerusalem. We can talk about the West Bank. They've like cut Palestine into multiple pieces, right? So there's no geographical continuity. Like if you're in Gaza, you can't go to the West Bank because you need a pass from the Israelis, right? Like they like I said, they control your movement. They control your politics. They control your food, everything. And the funny thing is that they're saying that Hamas are terrorists. This is from I want to show you this cable from WikiLeaks. This is from 2007. So keep in mind, in 2006, 2007, you had elections in Gaza. And Hamas won the elections, okay? Hamas, again, I will clarify this. Hamas is not a militant group. It's a political party. It's a Muslim Brotherhood political party that also has a military wing. Okay, just like Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a political party. They participate in elections, they win seats, and they also have a military wing. And actually, they also do a lot of social programs, right? Like when Iran was sending fuel, they went and took this fuel and distributed, mutual aid and all these kinds of things, okay? So it's very extensive. It's not as simple as, they tell you on the news. In any case, there were elections and Hamas won. And, you would think that Israel would be very upset. That's not what the cable says, okay? So this is from the head, okay, of Israel's defense intelligence, okay? And his name is Yadlin. So over here in this cable, Yadlin is saying that Israel would be happy if Hamas took over Gaza because the Israelis could then deal with Gaza as a hostile state. He, meaning the head of the Israeli defense intelligence chief, dismissed the significance of an Iranian role in a Hamas-controlled Gaza, quote, as long as they don't have a port, unquote. So if you didn't understand, I'll translate. The Israelis were happy to see Hamas win the elections in Gaza because they could use that as an excuse to bomb the crap out of Gaza and treat it as a hostile state. Lo and behold, that's what they've done. They know that Hamas is not really a threat. Well, they didn't until before yesterday, right? And it's true, there is no significant Iranian role. There isn't. Just because Iran helps does not mean Iran controls Gaza. You should absolutely do not mix these things up. Do not mix these things up. So in any case, I'm just showing you, a good analogy to this is actually Hillary Clinton. She thought that, well, Donald Trump would make a good adversary in the elections because she thinks that she can use his image against him to win the elections. And actually, well, she screwed up. She didn't actually expect him to win, and it backfired and so on. Now don't misunderstand and think that Hamas is working for Israel. No, this is absolutely not true. I'm just showing you that the Israelis, when they go on the news now and tell you Hamas are this and Hamas are terrorists, they're bullshitting. They're the ones who've been fostering this image on purpose just so they can besiege Gaza. They just want to make sure Palestinians have no access to the sea. No access to the sea whatsoever. They want to make sure Palestinians don't have a functioning country. They want to make sure Palestinians have no say over any decision in their lives. Nothing. Not even about the water. So, there's no need to complicate it. It's really that simple. It's colonialism, right? It's just colonialism. It's nothing else. And I'll actually, I want to show you how disgusting these politicians are. Like these are some of the tweets or statements, right? Like Biden is saying that, the United States supports Israel no matter what. Yeah, I'm sure he's seen the same videos that I showed you, but he doesn't care, right? And he says that the United States unequivocally condemns this appalling assault against Israel by Hamas terrorists from Gaza. Got all the keywords in there, terrorist. This is Macron, the French president, putting out a joint statement from France, Italy, Germany, the UK, the US, and saying that we express our steadfast and united support to the state of Israel and our unequivocal condemnation of Hamas and its appalling acts of terrorism. Well, why don't you condemn the Israelis for cutting off food and water for 2 million people? Like, I don't understand how this is not even a difficult thing to do. You know what Blinken did, the U.S. Secretary of State, his office put out a tweet in the last day saying that he wants the Israelis to reach a ceasefire agreement with Hamas and basically to cool it with the airstrikes, right? That's what he was implying. And he deleted it. He wasn't even saying that he disagrees with the Israelis. He was just saying that there should be a ceasefire, and he deleted it. Do you see the threshold that we're dealing with here? And then there's another U.S. official who did the same thing. And it's funny because it's Haaretz who are writing this. This is an Israeli newspaper that is calling them out. Look at the European Union. First of all, they've suspended aid to Gaza, right? Like it's not enough that there's no food or water coming in anymore, or electricity or fuel. No, now the EU has to crap on them too, right? Really punish them, make sure they understand. And look what they did outside all these buildings. The EU Commission building put up a giant Israeli flag, like on the side of it, okay? Do you see that? It's funny because maybe you can't see it so well, but on the right of the picture, the other side of this building is symmetric, right? It's symmetrical to the left side. So you could easily, if you wanted, you could easily put up a Palestinian flag on the other side, right? Like if you wanted, you could put up an Israeli and a Palestinian flag to show that, you want peace. You want a two-state solution. No, they don't even bother. It's like, screw you. Screw you, no aid. Screw you, no moral support. And screw you, here's an Israeli flag. It's multiple screws, right? And it's not only them. It's not just the EU, right? Look, it's the Bundestag, right? Actually, this is next to the Reichstag. It's the Brandenburger Tor. Okay, so it's the Reichstag is to your right once you pass by the gate, and of course the American embassy is on the left to where the photographer is standing. You know what I find funny with this photograph? It's like the Germans, they can't make up their minds. One second they're like massacring millions of Jews, and then the next they're saying, "Oh, we love Israel. We're going to beam a projector onto the thing." It's on that Jews and Zionism should be conflated, but make up your minds. They go like 1,000% in one direction, and then 1,000% in the other direction. I don't know. I think it's here's the Empire State Building, and the French here. So the thing is that the French statement here that I was reading to you, where is it again? Yeah, this is from Macron. Let me just read a couple of lines, okay? So he's saying, in recent days, the world has watched in horror as Hamas massacred families in their homes, slaughtered over 200 young people enjoying a music festival, kidnapped elderly women, children, and entire families. It's like they just sat down and they said like, bon, on va mettre les crimes les plus horribles. Qu'est-ce que t'en penses? Let's put down the worst crimes you can think of. So I'll get back to this, okay? I'll get back to the list in a second. And they say here, all of us recognize the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people. Again, in politics, this means fuck you, no state. That's what it means. But make no mistake, Hamas does not represent those aspirations. And it offers nothing for the Palestinian people other than more terror and bloodshed. That means if you try to resist in any way, we will shit on you. That's what this means. That's what this means. And you're seeing it in the flesh. If they're saying that Hamas doesn't represent Palestinians, but then they're okay with all the Palestinians starving, I'm sorry. Well, in Gaza anyway, right? So, I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And people, make no mistake, right now, the whole Arab world is happy. It's not that they like any violence. On the contrary, people prefer no violence. They would prefer that the Israelis go back to where they came from and they give back the land to the Palestinians. No one is interested in fighting. But they are happy that Hamas was able to humiliate the Israelis. Even Palestinians who do not agree with Hamas usually are happy about this. This is a one video. I think this is from I don't know if it's in Beirut. It's in Lebanon. Okay. That was quite loud. My goodness. I think, wow. They're just out partying, right, with Palestinian flags. So, make no mistake, there's a lot of moral support for the Palestinians. People are sick of watching Palestinians being brutalized and so on. And it's like watching somebody punch a bully in the jaw. This is what happened. Okay, let me simplify this as much as possible. What Hamas did, it's like watching someone who's being bullied punch the bully in the jaw. That's what happened. What the Israelis tell you afterwards, I mean, otherwise, I really don't care. It's just propaganda. They are the mainstream media is so full of propaganda. It's sickening. You cannot turn on one channel in any language in the West and listen to actual news. It's just pro-Israel bullshit the whole time. You should be biased in favor of the truth. The truth is that Palestinians are living under siege. Palestinians are colonized by Israelis, and they are fighting against the colonizer. That is the truth. And then you should report that truth. So that's what I'm doing. If you think that there's anything wrong with the Palestinians watching their own countrymen fight back, let me show you something here that is actually sickening. I'm glad that Tim posted this. So he says 9 years ago, young Israelis in the Negev, that's the desert, right, cheered as they watched the 2014 Israeli massacre of Palestinians in Gaza. Some described it as the best reality show in town, and others said it was better than the World Cup. So they're basically going up on a hill, and they're watching the Israeli planes just like drop bombs and, you know, carry out airstrikes over and over and over. You know, I mean, I understand, you know, there's a difference between watching, you know, your countrymen or your army, you know, like watching the RAF bombing Nazi Germany, and then there's the Israelis carrying out massacres against Palestinians. These two things are completely different. You know, they know that they have the upper hand. The Israelis know that they are in control of the land, and they know that they are oppressors and that they are being unfair. You cannot tell me that they are, you know, ignorant of what is going on, and they don't know that they are living in a colony. This is bullshit. They know what they are doing to the Palestinians. Everybody, the whole world knows. How can they cheer this on?